Hey folks, so I've done that thing where I've forgotten to record an intro for a video that ended up as a two-parter, so I'm having to do this while I'm editing it live at the desk. This is the designer chat from the Rab factory visit, where me and the lads from Rab and Mick go through the sort of whole process of why they came up with this Cinder range, who their prime customers are, and how they go about choosing fabrics, designs and cuts to create that range. Bit of a long one, so get a brew, get some biscuits, and let's get watching. Right, so here we are, kind of the meat of the discussion really, here in the Rab sales and boardroom, to kind of go into the whole reason I'm here, which is how does, a leading mountain brand try and become a leading bike brand? Where does the name come from? Where does the technology you're bringing in come from? And why? And also, why would you want to do that? I guess it's kind of what I hope to kind of reveal here. So who have we got here? We've got
Ben, one of the senior designers at Rab.
Yep.
Ed, I look after sales on the road, so looking after all the independent bike shops.
Yep.
And then Matt from marketing.
Cool. And you know where I am. Yeah, the old complaining about, most things are going on that I test. And just off camera, we've also got Mick, who's coming on photograph and joining the chat hopefully as well.
Yeah, I think the why side of it, that came around. I mean, Ben, you've been riding ever since you've worked at Rab. There's loads of people in the business that ride, and we're always just wearing other Rab products they're riding because they works really well. Our customer base has always been using it. There's so many people saying vaporize, especially used for biking for years and years and years. So we already knew that there was people using our products for riding. And over the years, we've branched out into different sort of categories. We've now got a running range, a dedicated ski range, and then bike was kind of the next one, really.
Yeah.
So all of the fabrics.
Because I think there was a danger, sorry to jump in, but there was a danger that, here we go, mountain bikes are exploded because of the timing of it. It looked like it came in at COVID and everybody's like, let's all get involved in biking.
Yeah, definitely.
But I guess, the development must have started a while before that.
For sure. You know how long a product takes to develop.
We're probably looking at least 2 years before it launches that we're working on it.
Yeah.
So there was definitely a need, and like a lot of our products worked, but they could be better. So all of the Cinder stuff we have, none of the fabrics are any different than our outdoor products. They're all the same fabrics, so we know they work in the outdoors. We know they work for running. We know they work for hiking, skiing. It's just about taking those fabrics and changing them into a more bike-specific product.
So in terms of cut and in terms of material, fabric placement, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's the major difference? I mean, I guess we need to talk about what rider you're targeting with the range. I mean, Cinder, you gave me the origin story.
Yeah, so the name for Cinder came around, Tim, who is head of design here, one of his first original bikes was a Kona Cinder cone. And as well as the big part of the range is revolving around gravel.
Yeah. We
know them as fire roads, but Americans know them as cinder trails.
Right.
So Cinder from there, and Kona Cinder cone.
Yeah.
All came together, and a bit of it, putting the names together, and we landed on Cinder.
And primarily your range is aimed at gravel riders then?
I think gravel, adventure riding, bikepacking.
So but it's hard to shoehorn everyone into one bit. I mean, you get there's quite a lot of so many different people riding. Obviously, gravel's quite a big thing at the moment. Rather than mountain people, so anyone on a bike in the mountains. We're not necessarily looking at full face downhill. That's not really kind of where we're positioned. But a typical Rab customer, one day they might be climbing, next day they're going to be out on their bike.
Yeah.
It could be in the Highlands of Scotland. It could be here in the Peak District.
Yeah.
Just something for those guys.
So the bike's just another way to enjoy the outdoors, essentially. So,
yeah.
But what kind of, I guess, from a pure performance level, what kind of exertion level are we talking here? I mean, is it more sort of steady rider? Are we talking topping out at kind of zone 2? Because obviously that helps me understand it from a product testing point of view, in terms of me knowing where it should be positioned and then sort of testing it at that level. Because I think I know where it works.
Yeah.
And I guess that's where I'd say is more sort of longer days, with variable conditions than like a specific short blast thing or anything like that, or ultimate, absolute top end performance.
We're not a race brand, that's for sure. Like you won't see our product standing on the top of cross country podiums and things like this. It's just a good day in the mountains. Sort of whatever excursion level you're going to be going at. Just need you to be comfortable and safe when you're in those environments, really.
I think the kit we've got as well, depending on your exertion level, you can choose the appropriate outfit. With a range. We've got lightweight jerseys. We've got bib shorts, which you can wear with or without baggies. So, it's up to you on your own exertion levels and what the.
Yeah, I mean, because there's the Recline and then like the Cinder VR as well. So
Exactly.
I'm not sure we're going to be launching an aero range, anytime soon, or a skin suit.
No. Just kind of sort of position it really, because I think it's oversubscribed anyway, isn't it?
Yeah, I think what's interesting is that you were saying earlier, you were wearing Rab stuff for cycling long before we had the Cinder range.
Yeah.
So a lot of our gear was being used in that environment, in that sport anyway. So it was sort of a natural progression to make a few tweaks into what we already had. Things like our down jackets, our shell products, still being used as kind of still fit for purpose. But I think with a few tweaks, we could probably make more inroads into that market.
Yeah. I mean, there's already some. I mean, I've got a mate who calls them faff jackets, which I think is a brilliant word for it. The jacket you throw on if someone's injured or you've got mechanical, whatever, like you need to stay warm. I mean, these walls are lined with them.
Yeah.
In terms of different down options and stuff like that.
Oh, totally. I mean, different down options.
Find a loft or whatever you want to use.
Because as well as being able to provide riding apparel, then we also offer the full package, like we were showing you, the sleeping bag.
Yeah, the new like sleeping bags.
So you've got the sleeping bags, the mats, the bivvies, the tarps, as well as like sort of post-ride activities, like when you get to camp, you've got a big down jacket to put on. That jacket's so small, packable, you don't even notice it in your pack. It's
because that's where it seems to be really, really disjointed in terms of what's being offered to the consumer in most places. Go to a shop and it's like, oh, we're the bike shop and we'll do the bike things. It's like, but now you have to go to this other shop. It's just, well, why can't you just carry a little bit of... people are starting to do they've always done bags.
Yeah,
but they don't do the stuff to put in the bags. It just seems a bit weird. I mean, all these bike shops are going, oh, we don't know, how do we get more customer engagement? It's like, well, you could just sell them this.
I think a great example.
You just sell them what you've got them then while they're there, and you say, I'm a bike shop. I say it's good for biking. They're not going to Cotswolds or wherever and going, oh, well, here's 7 different sleeping bags or something like that, and immediately like, oh,
we don't have that kind of REI style outlet one-stop shop in the UK. The closest sort of thing I think we do have is Alpine Bikes, Tizo.
Yeah, or go outdoors, I guess, from the other direction. But I guess that's a different customer.
Yeah, definitely to a certain level. Alpine Bikes in Scotland, I mean, you can go in and look at the syndicate, but then pop over to the outside side of the business, and you've got all the sleeping bags and tarps. So you can complete the package there, but you're definitely right. It's not something.
Because it used to be like that. Really early days. I remember working in Wilderness Ways when I was at school. And I was like the mountain bike lad there, and they did like mountain bike shoes. I mean, it's just like very early, so everything was neon and stuff like that. But they had like a couple of bikes in the local bike shop, and you could buy mountain bike stuff in there. Because I think that's what's really interesting about mountain biking now. It's almost coming full circle. Gravel's almost brought it full circle again, and it's bringing in that new wave of like outdoors people who are going, oh, being on a bike can be just being outdoors rather than, oh, I'm a cyclist now.
Yeah.
Which is something I haven't really thought about until I said it. No, absolutely. But it's going back, and it's giving people that it's almost moving back to the experience of being outdoors rather than the technicality of it. I guess that's
definitely grown, hasn't it? Just that it doesn't have to be cycling for cycling's sake. It can be cycling to have a day out in the hills.
Yeah,
that's definitely grown, and it's like,
and I can get twice as far as if I'm walking.
Yeah, and see more places.
Yeah,
that's kind of what I love about cycling, the fact that you can go out, you ride for a day and you can see such a variety of stuff. Whereas if you're just on foot, you may be walking up and down one valley or up and down one set of hills. Whereas on a bike, you can traverse valleys, traverse mountain ranges.
Yeah, you can get a really meaningful distance and have a really, saying that walking isn't meaningful. Disrespect our good friends, but it is. I think that's really where we're going to engage new riders coming in. So I'm going a bit off topic. Yeah. So come on, I was just say. So what are the fabrics you're using? What I mean.
So I know two you were particularly interested in are the vaporized system and how that works and how we've taken it from outdoor into bike. So I mean, two examples we've got are the Cinder Ridgeline and the Cinder VR.
They're both using a Pertex.
So yeah, they both use Pertex Quantum Air Outer, which is, so Pertex Quantum is their lighter weight fabrics, which don't have any PU coatings or anything. And they can be downproof, but they're typically the lighter end of the scale from kind of 30D downwards. And then the Quantum Air means that it has a degree of air permeability.
Right, yeah.
So you couldn't use this directly over down. This wouldn't be a downproof fabric because it has that amount of kind of air permeability built into it.
Yeah.
But what it's great for is breathable outer shells. It adds some degree of wind protection, but also a high degree of breathability.
Yeah.
Which
Do you
is
have
why,
a WVT figure for that, or
not off the top of my head. It's a CFM. It's a CFM figure, like a CC figure. I've not worked on it for a while, but I think it's typically around 4 cc.
Okay, yeah.
But it can vary. So they do different degrees of
depends on the
quantum
lacquer
air.
as well.
So it depends which one you choose.
Yeah. And that's shared with the Vaporize running product as well.
Yes, it is. Yeah, we use the same fabric all over the place. Yeah, so it's got a degree of stretch as well, but that's mechanical stretch. There's no lycra in there. It's built into the fabric itself.
It's in the weave.
Yeah, so lycra absorbs water, and so it's stretchy, but it absorbs water and gets heavier. So where we can, if we can get mechanical stretch in, we will avoid the use of lycra where we can, because although it gives you obviously great stretch and close fitting, it slows down that movement of water and adds weight. Yeah. So in a lightweight outer shell like this, we try and avoid.
And is that pretty much the same with any fabric that's got like a yarn content rather than a construction structure content? If people are looking at other fabrics, or is that too much of generalisation?
It very much depends where you're going to use it. Right. If you wanted to, you wouldn't, for instance, for some tights, you wouldn't remove the lycra from those. Because lycra is the main point of the tight. And you need that super high levels of stretch. But for where you're wanting something like this, where it's not super close fitting and it's all about the movement of moisture and vapor, that's where we do try and remove the lycra content from if we can. So we've got this Pertex Quantum Air, and then which provides your weather resistance. So it's not waterproof, but it's got a DWR on, so it's wind resistant, water resistant, breathable. So this is your kind of outer shield layer. And then on the inside, we have a jersey knit. So this is a textured polyester jersey knit.
Yeah.
But built in such a way that it will pick up and carry water from the inside to the outside.
Yeah.
So it's designed to, when you sweat, it picks up that moisture from your skin, moves it to the backside of the fabric, and then spreads it out as quickly as it can.
Dissipates it sideways.
Yeah.
That's essentially what wicking is, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
It's spreading your sweat over the largest possible
external
area.
But this is directional, so it's pointing it outwards as well. It's not just spreading it over the inlay next to your skin.
Right,
it's
okay.
moving it outwards.
And how's that done? Is that like an open-ended fibre?
Yeah, it's like a capillary action, yeah.
So is that a tapered fibre or anything like that? Or, I mean, this is a complete school day to me. I've never kind of gone into how it's actually engineered into the fabric.
That can vary. On a more fleecy fabric, that can be like a fleece is like a literal capillary tube that effectively moves it. It can be done using not coatings, but using like a chemical. It can be done chemically.
Yeah.
Or it can be done using using a density of fabric. So you have a more dense knit on the inside, which becomes less dense on the outside.
Yeah.
So again, it moves, the moisture wants to move towards the looser knit. And that's what we've got here. So this is a denser knit on the inside, which moves towards the eyelet on the outside and can spread out.
Cool.
So then that water is spread along the backside of that fabric, away from your body. And then the air permeability, which, so the small amount of air which can pass through this outer fabric, can then swirl inside here.
Yeah, because they're not bonded together.
Because they're not bonded together.
The outer fabric's floating over the inner.
Yes. And also that floating action does a similar thing. It kind of pumps and moves the air around.
Yeah.
And it allows that moisture to evaporate quickly through the outer fabric and into the outside air.
Yeah.
And this is what we're talking about earlier with the warmth of your body providing greater pressure inside the garment.
Yeah.
That helps again with the process. It helps this evaporation and pushing that moisture outside out from your body.
And then it's a fleece, sort of 3D fleece backer on it.
Yeah, so on the front, that's on the, we have that technology down the front of the garment and down the tops of the sleeves. So protecting you from kind of drizzle, light rain, that type of thing. And then where you want the garment to be a bit more breathable, down the back, under the arms, we just have a grid face fleece, which has no wind resistant layer over the top.
Yeah.
Which is much more breathable and allows sweat just to evaporate straight through it.
But it's a higher thermal rating than the front fabric without the protection on it.
It's yes, correct, yeah. But in terms of
so you're not going to be completely outflanked.
No.
From rain hitting you on the back or something like that. So there are some garments that are very, very specific.
Yes,
and you feel like a proper whoa.
Yeah,
cold
so
down the spine.
So in terms
of they tend to work really effectively. You can keep moving fast.
Yeah,
it's almost like a self-bailing boat or one of the surfboards that sinks. It's fine once you're moving fast, but when you stop, freaking freezing.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, in terms of warmth levels, the back is probably similar to the front because you've got this sandwich of two thin fabrics.
Yeah.
Of which one is wind resistant, and then on the back you've got a single layer which is thicker and warmer, so more breathable.
Yeah.
So as an overall garment, it's fairly balanced front and back in terms of warmth, but the back is just kind of more breathable. So especially if you're wearing a pack, it kind of allows the moisture to evaporate more quickly from the back.
Yeah. And then on the second one, that's essentially similar principle.
Yes.
With a heavier weight fabric internally.
So this piece, so the ridgeline is more of a shoulder season garment.
Yeah.
So this is more of a spring autumn garment.
What would you wear underneath that? Sorry, as a base layer. I guess it depends on the conditions, but
either a long or short sleeve, something like a 4 space layer.
Yeah.
Personally, I'd wear something that's kind of polyester.
Just sort of faster wicking.
Faster wicking.
Yeah.
Because if you can get that moisture wicking from your body to the inside of this faster, then this can start doing its job faster.
So if you put merino under that, for example, that's just going to hold onto the water, slow the ability of that.
Yeah, pure merino would. The blends of merino, like we use, they still wick pretty well.
Yeah.
But for me to wear a merino base layer, it has to be, I only wear those on the coldest day, really, for me.
Yeah.
But
or just when it's going to be unrelentingly wet and you're going
to because that's the other thing. If it's a long day and you know it's going to be wet, they keep you warmer while you're wet. So that's another time I choose merino as well.
Yeah.
I think on this fabric you can do, it's quite a good, nice like sort of demo you can do with a bit of like showing the capillary action of it really. So if this water here is to represent a bit of sweat, once it actually passes through the garment, you can see that's about 5 pence amount that's gone on there. Once it actually starts moving to the other side of the garment, you see how much bigger it is.
Nice.
And you'll just be able to see that spreading out, and you can physically watch it now getting bigger, bigger, and bigger.
But also getting lighter.
Yeah, definitely. And keeping you, so that patch where I put that on now, you feel that, just brush your hand across the back, you're comfortable.
Yeah.
All the wetness is now here. The outer of that side, so I don't know. That's a nice way.
Remind me to do that as close up.
Yeah, definitely. that's just nice. Well,
that's a good trick.
Now it's coming to like 50 pence or £2 coin size now, so you can really see that how it's increasing its surface area to speed up that dry time of the product. Sorry.
No, that's cool. No. So this is more of a spring autumn type piece, and then the VR, the pure VR piece, is more of a winter piece.
Yeah.
It'd have to be pretty cold weather for me to ride in this. Talking sort of below.
To clarify, VR, we're standing for vaporize.
Yeah, so which is a very long-standing family within Rab.
One of the oldest products in the Rab range, really, vaporize.
Yeah, and vaporize has always been the same. It's always meant the same thing. It's been over years. It's been different fabrics and different combinations of fabrics, but it's always meant the same thing. And that's all. It's always been about moving moisture vapor out from the body as quick as you can. It's always been a piece that can be worn as a mid layer, as an outer or a mid layer, and work equally well. That's always been another consideration throughout the years. You put a shell over the top and it carries on working. It doesn't just stop breathing, it carries on working. It's always had a level of water resistance and weather resistance, but never been waterproof. So it's always been the same thing throughout the years. And we have cold weather athletes who even just wear 2 layers of vaporize. They wear vaporize over a vaporize to get added weather protection, but it just carries on working all the way through those layers and carries on that amazing breathability and moisture movement through several layers. And you don't. There's
no point at which it just suddenly hits a brick wall.
Yeah. So I mean, how you talk about you hate wearing a shell and you steer clear shells. That's the kind of thing they're doing. They're going out in terrible weather and wearing 2 layers of vaporize. So using that as the outer shell is almost like the outer vaporize is almost like a barrier that nothing ever gets through, and then your inner vaporize stays nice and dry and just carries on breathing, which is pretty cool. So
how are you doing that? You're saying it's a more winter-specific garment. So how are you doing that with it? Is that again, it's the same? So we use the same quantum air on top.
Exactly the same quantum air as the other piece. In some of our mountaineering ones, we do use more heavy-duty quantum air as well. But this is the same quantum air as used in the Ridgeline piece. But on the front of this jacket, we now have a
full stiff teddy bear.
So a thicker, more brushed lining on it. It's using the same technique as the previous one. It still moves moisture really quickly, but this has like a hollow yarn, so it's got amazing warmth to weight ratio. It's super lightweight. But has quite a brush feeling to it, so it adds a lot of warmth, but still moves that moisture incredibly quickly.
And because it's tubular, it uses a capillary action, like I mentioned before.
And also uses a denier gradient actually. So
it's thicker. It's a thicker by denier gradient. You mean that the actual thickness of the textile changes? So all I know about denier is tights.
Yeah, it's to do with how. It's more of a woven thing, but it's to do with how the denier is how tightly it's woven or knitted, and water, as I say, wants to move from a thicker denier to
more open.
This uses a combination of both really. So it's got these. It's got the loose fleece which will pick up moisture very quickly, absorb it in, and then push it outwards.
For me, when I'm really trying to describe this, basically, the inside, that's your sponge inside. That's just grabbing any moisture from inside, just drawing it away as quick as possible. Real basic.
Your bounty kitchen towel.
Exactly, one sheet is plenty.
Because it's similar to fabrics like Polartec Alpha.
Yes.
Just looking from a visual point of view, anyway. Which is kind of the, I guess pile fleeces were the original, like buffalo.
It's
like a bigger, more primitive version.
It's all the same system. Just using much finer yarns nowadays and things, and just using them in cleverer ways to get better ones.
But I've noticed that, I mean, obviously you use Pertex on that, which is a brand name, but generally Rabs kind of steer clear of brand names to us. I mean, or is that just this collection? I guess you do use Gore and stuff,
use
but
Gore,
you don't see
Polartec, Pertex. We've got Polartec in fleece.
Oh, okay, right. No, it just happens to be on Cinder range there.
Yeah, just
And I suppose if you've got vaporized technology and it's well recognised about, you know, mountain bikers are already using, why would you not go, well, yeah, this is vaporized, it does the job, we already have the product.
We've got a huge team of like garment techs who are always like their knowledge fabric wise, like always out there searching for, if there's other options where no need to stay in one lane, really, just one offering. Yeah, work very closely with quite a few mills, select mills, don't we?
Yeah, and develop a lot, like I say, we develop a lot of our own fabrics, like the Perfect fabric on the Kinetic is, all in-house developed and things.
I guess from a marketing point of view, we probably need to do, you know, this is still quite early as a category, so we probably need to do, there's a job to do at least on communicating that vaporized technology, because I guess, you know, the categories, it's well known, it's got that trust, but it's still kind of a new thing for cyclists and riders. So
and unfortunately, there's so much noise of
Yeah.
all these fancy fabric names that everybody seems to have for every fabric they use, whether it's theirs or not.
Definitely.
I think it's quite rare to have one with a genuine story that people can actually, you know, literally just Google and go, oh, look, here's a vaporized jacket from 2010. Getting a really good rating for running or whatever like that, which you aren't going to find for most of the proprietary fabric.
Bonded soft shell as well has been in cycling for so long that people are used to seeing the bonded soft shell and its advantages and drawbacks.
Yeah, like from the original Assos jackets.
Yeah,
Original Windblock jackets way back when.
and things like the Gore Phantom and things like that.
Yeah.
Which, you know, they work great in certain scenarios, but they're not great for all scenarios.
Yeah.
Like you're going back into the exertion and things, and if you're working hard, there's a limitation on how useful soft shells can be.
Yeah.
We've always classed vaporize as a soft shell kind of piece, haven't we? Like it's and like the traditional, what a consumer would see as soft shells, great in them cold and dry climates, but this is a great sort of almost like British version of a soft shell.
Yeah,
like
soft shell, damp and warm.
Exactly.
Well, not warm, but certainly warmer than.
So a lot of these soft shells come from these European brands who have this lovely cold, dry climate. Us living here in the dark depths of winter, like having this kind of take on a British soft shell, I've always found it just adds a lot more versatility to it. And I think maybe you've tried this. I find once you put this piece on, you're not stopping after 5 minutes for that technical layering break and shedding layers. It's literally, you can put it on and keep it on all day.
And it works with you.
It works with you.
Yeah.
Right,
so we've got the fabrics. We're happy with the fabrics. How do you go about proving them? How do you go about sort of templating cut and things like that? How does that process? I mean, you're obviously a very keen cyclist yourself. You are as well, Ed. Do you design? I guess you have input on it. But do you have like test team as well you work with?
We have a test team. We've got bikes in the office. We have fit models. So we have consistent fit models. So all of our clothing fits on a certain size person. You have to have a benchmark.
And that hasn't changed. Whereas you moved to cycling.
Yeah, that hasn't changed. A size medium is a size medium.
Yeah.
And you could argue that perhaps cyclists are different shapes to climbers or whatever, but you know, we have a Rab customer, and that customer hasn't changed.
Yeah.
It's still the same people out in the mountains, whether they're climbing, biking, walking, running, whatever.
But that's probably quite different to the general demographic anyway, because I've seen more brands moving towards kind of like general demographic fit, and they produce some very, very odd results. You end up with like, you know, trail pants that look like maternity trousers and stuff like that, which doesn't always seem to try and go over that well. But
we've got our Rab Fit. I mean, the idea is if we've got our climbing customer, they can buy their climbing jacket, and if they want to buy a bike piece, then they can know that their size is medium, and they can carry on buying through. Within ranges, we do different fits. Obviously, like some garments will label them as slim fit, some will label as relaxed. So there is different sizes within there, especially when it comes to trousers and things. But on the whole, you should be pretty safe to know if you're already an existing Rab customer, you've got a ski shell from us, you can then buy a bike shell and carry on through your sizing. I think that's a big reason for not, all right, we'll bring a cyclist in to fit this, and then, oh, hang on, the rest of our Rab clientele can't match up them sizes.
Because that's when you risk losing all the hard work of having an established brand and established customer base. I mean, are you seeing? I mean, you're obviously working with the shops. Do you get feedback about who's buying this? Is it people who already know Rab,
Yeah, I think one thing we've got really good is like obviously Rab has got a strong brand name, so the consumer already has trust in the brand because they know it. It's not a new brand.
And that's still in cycling as well. You found that as well.
Not in cycling clothing, but they know the brand because they're probably walking into that bike shop with a Rab down jacket on. Or you've been to many of the bike festivals around the UK. You see our brand a lot. Okay, it's not been on the bike until now, but it's a lot easier for the customers to transition across. They know that product, they love it, they trust it. It will last them for years, and so we're finding it quite easy to transition across. We're not trying to build the brand in that. Obviously, we need to build it in bike.
Yeah.
But you've already got that kind of name, that trust with our fabric tech and our years of mountaineering clothing.
Yeah. I mean, you seem to have had a good reception in the first year, despite it being possibly the worst year to ever try to sell cycle clothing.
Totally. I mean, super. I started with a blank canvas across the UK, and the way we kind of went at it, we wanted bike specific shops. So in other times we've had like our running range that kind of goes into our outdoor shops, but this one we started, like, no, we want to target this to dedicated bike retailers because that's kind of where we see this product going. And yeah, I think in the first season signed up 17 new dealers, 35 locations across the UK.
Yeah, and you've had good feedback from that.
Yeah, definitely.
So what happens next?
What happens next? I think we always want this. We don't want this to be a sort of, some brands, I think they've been really suffering from over distribution. You see it in every shop, walk down the street, 20 metres, you see it another way. We like to always give dealers a bit of fair space, and not keeping it super like no, like you can only do it, but a fairly small, like a fairly concise professional dealer base with it. It doesn't need to be in every shop in the land. So where next? I mean, there's definitely a few. We'll probably come on to them a little bit later. There's probably a few gaps in the range that we could do filling and changing. And just as our fabrics and everything's changing, obviously there's a lot of movement in shell category at the moment with different legislations coming in. So there's a lot more movement there. And as being our first season, we got a lot of great feedback from yourselves, consumers, us as staff, our test athletes. There's always bits and bobs on the horizon.
Yeah, and obviously we get to learn what works, what doesn't, and we'll obviously be gathering feedback and intelligence from people who've used the kit and what retailers want next and what customers want next.
So it hasn't put you off being involved in the bike market, because we've seen quite a few brands over the years just like, oh, here's our new mountain biking range, even big brands like, Nike, Adidas, North Face. Mm-hmm. They've, I've been to launches of more over the years, and it's like, oh, and you'd find like a shower kit bag or something they gave you, or a t-shirt you got a launch, went, oh, crikey, I forgot they did that. And it's like there for a year and then gone. This is definitely a sort of long-term, you don't seem like having visited the brand and looked around it, it's not just a flash in the pan job, is it?
No, I think there's a lot of passion, the amount of cyclists in the business. I think really
and also how long a lot of people here have worked as well, I think tells a story in itself. Yeah,
definitely. And then again, it just links so much to what else we're doing. Like our sleeping bags, they often come out top of bikepacking reviews and things like that because they do go down to that size. We're already in that space, so just make clothing work for it. But I mean, like when we're talking about the chamois was probably one of the biggest learning curves for us.
We use elastic interface, don't you?
We use elastic interface, and what do you try? 60 different pads over the time?
Yeah, I definitely rode in nearly 10.
Exactly. So we could have easily just gone and knocked a bit of foam up out the back, called it a chamois, job done.
Yeah.
But to have that credibility in that space, we really wanted to work. I think it's really good to put your hands up and say, well, we're not the experts there. Let's go to who are the experts. So we partnered with Elastic Interface, probably the biggest Italian chamois manufacturer there is, and used their knowledge, their guidance. We used, I believe the number was over 60 different pads tried, and it was really just trying to nail down the right one to use. Obviously, they have a huge catalogue of different chamois you can use, and obviously we've got men's and ladies specific as well. But obviously that was probably one of the most important bits of the range is for us to get right. We know this fabric, we've worked with it for years. Yeah. That was a completely new category, and again, working with them and positioning them in the shorts is probably one of the most underlooked pieces, but probably one of the most important pieces to get right in the collection would have been chamois and basically.
Yeah, absolutely. Because if you didn't do that right, then people go, well, they haven't even thought about cycling. They've just, they've just made some bike-shaped stuff. But I think, you kind of need to nail that one.
I think also, I mean, we're still at the early stages of being in the bike world. We want to grow our athlete and ambassador group as well. We have a pretty small group at the moment, but there's so much to go out. We're a brand that's spread across climb, mountaineering, bike. There's a lot for us to talk about, and I think we're going into bike sort of eyes open, really, that we still need to sort of build that trust within the bike world a bit.
And again, that's something that needs to be managed carefully. I think, again, you could just come in and go, all right, we'll just, have a look at who's got what likes, who's got which, following, right, we'll just buy them up.
Yeah, exactly.
And it'd be...
People still do that.
Yeah, I hope they do.
Yeah.
You're never sure these days, but no, it's been super interesting.
It's the same thing with product, really, that obviously you can't do everything year one. There's bound to be gaps in what we do, so we've had to cherry pick the stuff that we think we'll be good at, and that we think we can make inroads in and make proper mountain products that people look to us for.
Yeah.
Because I think from our background, people will look to us for insulation, shell, things that keep them warm, things that keep them comfortable, things that keep them dry. That's what we're known for, and I think that's what people come to us for with a bike range. Things like jerseys and bib shorts and things might be a harder sell because everybody does those. And
exactly. It's a huge way. And there's less of a story to tell, really.
People do them well. Whereas
that's more function, that's more fashion.
There's a lot of bike stuff,
split, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a lot of technical bike stuff in shell, insulation and things.
That's usually technical.
That aren't done well.
It shows from your reviews. I mean, straight away, your Cinder Kinetic, what did you put that in? Best?
Yeah, I think that's a great jacket. I think you're doing, as someone who's a shellophobe, that's a mix. You rate that as well. You've got the trousers, haven't you? Yeah. You really rate those.
I've got the jacket as well,
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I whined about the pocket placement on the ridgeline and stuff.
Yeah, but that's great to see. It's and it's all good, good for us to...
And it's great, and to be honest, it's been really good, the fact that you've gone, right, okay, we, come down, learn our story,
Yeah.
That, you haven't gone,
Yeah, definitely.
There's plenty of brands that do.
Yeah.
You feel like, and it is, it's slightly awkward. You're like, oh, you've done a great job, but, and it's very easy. People go, oh, you should do your own stuff. I was like, hell no. This is way easier. I just get to criticise other people's hard work that they've really invested themselves in, just being an absolute arse.
Yeah.
So thanks for having us down and kind of explaining the story and putting us in the picture.
No, it's great. No, thanks for coming, and hopefully go out for a ride. And well, you've worn it a lot anyway, so you know.
Yeah, but there's a couple of pieces I'm keen to try.
Definitely, yeah. And I think it's great. I mean, you've seen the whole picture today, and no matter what, yes, I think price comes up a lot. People are always, oh, it's quite expensive. I mean, our Kinetic now 240. Yeah, definitely, but how many other brands would take that back, clean it for you, repair it, and then like that jacket can then carry on using. It's not just one run and done if you bid it.
Yeah. And also so many people have worked through so many 200 quid jackets over the years and just been consistently disappointed.
Yeah.
But still gone, oh, I need a waterproof because there's a waterproof test in the magazine, so I must need a waterproof. It's just like, it's such a kind of Pavlov's dog response almost. It's like, it's raining, I need a waterproof. It's like, no, you just need not to be cold.
Yeah. I think
at the end of the day, that's all you just, just manage your misery.
I've got two waterproof cycling jackets, and out of my entire wardrobe of cycling kit, there's at least one stuff.
Absolutely, yeah.
I think it's
most carried, least worn.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, like, obviously, you saw at the service centre, and like sustainability is a big thing for us, and we're always kind of use the word more sustainable. Like the most sustainable option you've got is probably the jacket you've already got sitting in the wardrobe.
Yeah.
So everything we do is trying to be more sustainable. None of these pieces will ever be like 100% fully sustainable. We need to realise that. So that's why keeping our existing products on the road or on the trails as long as we can is really important. And then I'm not sure if you saw these bits, our material facts. So when someone's buying one of these products, this is also like an image, like a product image. This is also there. So I don't know many of brands that a lot of brands will just say, oh, this is recycled. You actually look at it, it's 5% recycled.
Yeah.
So and they'll just put a little recycled logo on it.
Yeah. Well, it was recycled last year and now it isn't.
Yeah, we're super clear about this. So I've just pulled this up from one of the insulation jackets behind us, but we break it right down to a full recycled percentage. And that includes the fabric, the outer, the second outer if it's got one. So some jackets will use 2 different sort of fabrics, overlays, shoulder patches. The insulation inside if it's got that, zips, trims. So every single piece of this garment is measured all the way down to these little zip pulls. We come up with this product being, the product behind me is 86% recycled in total. Yeah. We show products on there that are quite high, like this one, 86. We show some that are 0, but we don't hide the fact that it's 0.
You know.
It's and the reason the product might be 0 is because it's out and out performance.
Yeah.
We always give the customer the option though. So if they are wanting to choose a more sustainable product, they can do, or if performance is all they're after, they can.
And that 100%, that 0%, what 0% now might be a recyclable product, which will then become part of a recycle.
Yeah, and then one thing we've added to this, which you wouldn't have seen just yet, is we now have a renewable energy category. So we've been working. We're a fair wear leader brand. Yeah. So fair wear, it's all about the factories, all about the working environments, the pay, just making sure everything in our factories as well. And a big project of us with our factories, we've been kitting them out to be as sustainable as they can be. Yeah. So solar panels are on the roofs of our factories now, and that's a big movement for us in the whole supply chain side of it. So yeah, we can put that product that used 100% renewable energy to make that product. Some of them are lower, some of them are higher, depending on which you're supplying. But I don't know many brands, let alone bike brands, doing something as clear. Just providing clarity, not just greenwashing, saying, yep, this has got recycled content, or how much. What part of it's recycled, and then at the end.
But there is a lot, I mean, again, I think the cycle industry is very guilty of just like cherry picking some numbers without, I mean, in a lot of cases when I review stuff, it seems like they don't even know what the numbers mean or what the significance is. They'll be like, yay, it's 5K breathability. You're like, you do not want to be shouting about that. That is very bad.
Well,
That's very bad.
I think we've got a few minutes. So upstairs we've got a lab.
Oh, okay, brilliant.
So we can take you up there, and that's where we can actually, you can see, approve, and like we've got abrasion testing up there, we've got the TWR, we've got the MVTR, just so you can see, like, maybe not all brands have that facility. No. Maybe they're just buying from a catalogue, whereas we've really got a whole team of garment techs and fabric tech people there.
Sweet.
So we can back up what we're saying about this product.
Let's go upstairs then.
Yeah.
And as you can see, what happened when we went upstairs is now on that factory tour video, because it seemed to actually fit better that way, and it would have pushed this video on close to an hour, which is a lot. And there's also a little bit of riding at the end of that, and a proper goodbye as well, you know. So if it had been one video, it kind of would have worked properly. But as it is, a bit of a edit on the hoof, as it were. So hope that's okay. Hope you found this one interesting. Obviously, if you've got any comments or questions for the Rab team, let me know in the comments, and either Ed will get involved himself or I can forward them to the team myself and hopefully get you some useful answers there. But massive thanks for watching. Thanks to Rab for having me down for the day. Really, really interesting to meet these guys and sort of learn about their processes. Thanks to my industry sponsors who make spending time talking to the GoPro rather than just writing for the websites a reality. They're listed at the end. And massive thanks, as always, to my Patreon subscribers who pledge on a monthly basis to support the channel, and that makes a huge difference to the sustainability of what I do here at GuyKez TV. And those guys get early, exclusive and behind-the-scenes edits, and they get them ad-free. So if you really want to support what I'm doing here, then please consider joining me on Patreon. But for now, click for subscriptions, click for notifications, give us a thumbs up like, and let me know in the comments whether you like this kind of factory tour thing or whether you want me to just stick to straight reviewing. I'm lucky enough to have access to these kind of people and have these chats regularly, so I'm interested in it. Let me know if you are too. But for now, I've been Guy Kestevan on GuyKez TV, touring the Rab factory and meeting the designers and the processes behind their new Cinder cycling range.